This is a lesson for the extension people. By the time you have finished IG, you need to be able to multiply and divide and add and subtract in standard form. I'm going to leave the addition and subtraction for next year. We usually teach it in year 10, and we're just going to do multiplication and division in year 9. Okay? So important that you master this, and it shouldn't be very, very difficult, I'm hoping. So the idea about this is you stay in standard form throughout. You're doing it without a calculator. Calculator's not there. If you were asked to do this question without a calculator, you would have to show every single step with full method. If you don't, we assume you use a calculator and we give you nothing at all. Okay. So the first thing that you would be expected to know is that you can change the order of multiplication as much as you feel like without changing the answer. So I can do that. Then I can go 2 times 3 is 6. That's not hard. And then you are supposed to know from the exponents section that this is 10 to the power 10. In other words, we've added the exponents. If you've got 6 tens and 4 tens, then there must be 10 of them in total. It is now finished. It's in full standard form. It's done. Nice and easy. Okay? Here's a second example. Okay, now this one's a bit harder because it's got numbers that are not as easy to multiply. I'm again going to write down as my first step the thing with the difference in order, right? Then I'm going to multiply 3.1 by 2.4. Now you know that 3 times 2 is 6, so your answer will be close to 6. But this is not going to be very hard to do. 4 times 1 is 4, 4 times 3 is 12, and now the 2 is 10 times bigger, so I put a 0 there. 2 times 1 is 2, 2 times 3 is 6. And when we add them together, there's the 4, and there's the 7. You're supposed to know that because there's 2 decimal places here, there will automatically be two decimal places here as well. Okay? Which makes sense because 3 times 2 is 6, so your answer should be close to 7. It can't be 74. That doesn't make any sense. So this is 7.44. The negative exponents change nothing. You are supposed to know that you add your exponents. So we're adding them, so that's 10 to the minus 9, right? And that makes sense because you're taking a tiny little fraction and multiplying it by an even tiny little fraction. You're going to get a tiny fraction of the fraction. So of course it's teeny tiny. Try it on your calculator, you'll see it's true. That's how you do it, okay? Next question, something just a little bit different. Now we're multiplying by a negative, so this is negative 5.1 times by 8.2 times by 10 to the 6 times by 10 to the 15. We had one negative sign to start off with. We've still got one negative sign. I've given it to the 5.1. It doesn't make any difference, but that sort of makes sense the way it is. So first of all, a negative times a positive is a negative. So for absolute certain, that's negative. So I'm going to go 5.1 times by 8.2. You can ignore the decimal places. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 8 is 8. Then that 5 is 10 times bigger. 5 times 2 is 10. Carry the 1. 5 times 8 is 40 plus 1 is 41. And I'm going to get 41.82. I know it's 0.82 because there are 2 decimal places here. So there are 2 decimal places here. Also, 5 times 8 is 40, so surely it must be 41. So this is negative 41.82, right? Overall, the whole thing is negative. You've got negative times by a positive up here, negative times by a positive, times by a positive, times by a positive. Of course, it's negative. And now we're going to work with our tens. Times 10 to the power 6 plus 16 is 21. So you've got a million and you're timesing it by something even bigger than a million. You're going to get some monstrously big number. It should make sense. Now, is that in standard form? The answer is definitely not, and you have to make it back into standard form. So because this is no calculator, you're going to show all your steps. So you're going to say that is the same as that times that, right? This thing here is the same as this thing here, okay? Therefore, our final answer is 4.182 times 10 to the 22, right? Get it back into standard form. Last example, division, okay? So they could have written it with the brackets and a division sign, or they could have written it like this. They're probably going to be kind to you and give numbers that divide into each other quite easily. 2.1 divides into 6.3 3 times. So hopefully you can see that. So, and I can do this in as many pieces as I want to because it's division. So I can do it piece by piece, there's no problem, right? Now we know that we can subtract the two exponents. And if you think about it, at the top here, you've got 15 tens. You've got 10 times 10 times 10 times 10, 15 times. At the bottom, you've got 9 of them. Surely there are going to be 6 left. And surely they're going to be at the top. Okay, there we go. I guess that's good timing with my phone ringing. That's the last example. Please do all your homework.